Welcome to today's video on the difference between popular and scholarly sources. When researching, it is important to understand the difference between these two source types. To understand the difference between source types, it is helpful to think about how information is created. For example, imagine you are on a walk and discover a dragon. You take a video and post it on TikTok. The post quickly goes viral, and a local TV station interviews you about your discovery. Then over the next few weeks, you get even more interviews in newspapers and magazines. These sources that emerge from your initial sighting of the dragon are popular sources. Because popular sources are usually accessible to everyone, they use casual language that anyone can understand and are created to entertain and describe events. The discovery that dragons exist then captures the attention of several scholars working at universities across the world. Over the next several months and years, scholars conduct original research projects. A group of biologists study the dragon in their natural habitat, and a historian re-examines historical records to find references to dragons. Once the researchers are finished with their studies, they write up their research and submit them to journals. After a lengthy peer review process, the studies are published. A few more years pass, and soon books are published on various topics related to this new discovery. The sources that emerge later are called scholarly or peer-reviewed sources. Unlike popular sources, these scholarly sources study the topic in depth and use more formal language. These sources are created by subject experts, usually associated with a university, like your professors, and are considered more authoritative than popular sources. The most common sources in university are scholarly sources. Generally, these scholarly sources are considered more credible in academia, and we'll talk more about the idea of credibility and authority in Unit 4. For now, though, it is essential to remember that websites, blogs, tweets, newspapers, and other sources that are part of the first half of the information cycle are not scholarly sources, and therefore would not be sources you'd want to use in a paper. Since scholarly or peer-reviewed sources are a very particular type of resource, it is essential to recognize some of the key characteristics that make up these sources. When determining if you're looking at a scholarly source, one element to examine is the title. Titles in scholarly sources usually clearly state what the paper is about and contain discipline-specific language. We'll take a look at these two examples. Example 2 is a scholarly source, as it contains many discipline-specific words. A second element to consider is the body of the resource. In this example, the scholarly source is only text, compared to the popular source, which has a large image. Occasionally, scholarly sources will include an image, a figure, or a table, but they will always have a figure number, a brief caption, and source information in the caption. Whereas in popular sources, the caption, if present, only describes the picture. Here are a couple more examples of figures and tables from scholarly sources. As you can see, in all of these examples, the image is identified and the source information is present. While the caption may look slightly different, depending on the citation style, the same basic information is always present. A third element to consider is an abstract. Abstracts summarize the article's main points, and it is valuable because it offers a quick overview of the article's content and can help you decide if it will be helpful for your research. While not all scholarly articles have abstracts, popular sources do not include abstracts, as their articles are shorter and they rarely waste space summarizing the article. Peer review is another essential element of determining if a source is scholarly. Please see Unit 1 for more information about the peer review process. However, the three most essential elements to consider are where it was published, who the authors are, and the use of references. Scholarly articles will always contain information about where and when the source was published. Articles will be published in journals, and books will be published by academic publishers or university presses. In this example scholarly source, there's lots of information. For example, it was published in the journal Discourse, Studies in the Cultural Politics of Education, Volume 38, Issue 5, on pages 768 to 781 in 2017. Whereas in our example popular source, there's no information about where or when it was published. Scholarly sources will be written by researchers within a specific discipline and report on research findings. The authors will usually be affiliated with a university or a large research institution. In scholarly sources, it usually states the authors' names and who the authors are affiliated with. In contrast, popular sources often have no information about who wrote the article. When you need scholarly sources, look for papers by people associated with a university. The most important indicator of scholarly sources are the in-text citations and a reference list. In this scholarly source example, there are numerous in-text citations on the first page alone. In contrast, there are no in-text citations in this popular source. Our example scholarly source also includes a long reference list at the end of the paper. Scholarly sources will always contain in-text citations and a reference list. It is not a scholarly source if the source does not include these two elements. When determining if a source is scholarly, look for information about title, author, publication, in-text citations, and a reference list. In conclusion, understanding the difference between popular and scholarly sources is crucial for conducting effective research. Popular sources are great for getting an overview of a topic, but scholarly sources are more reliable and accurate. When in doubt, always check the credibility of a source before using it in your research. In Unit 3, we will discuss how to locate scholarly materials. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please send us an email.